You've talked about moving from code to strategy. What was the hardest mindset shift for you in that journey?
So for me, moving up from a developer into management and the strategy side of things, the big thing for me was letting him go and empower. You're the one that's actually building the thing, doing the coding. So for me, it's focus on making progress rather than aiming for perfection on step one. And then I'd say another thing as well, when you move from code to strategy, if you put it, is you go from being in the back office, day-to-day 9 to 5 coding, to being, more public facing, whether that's standing on stage or doing sales pitches or, talking to clients on their strategy. So part of that as well is pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone and making a conscious effort to do that, and doing those difficult things. Like I say, stand on stage, part of your line management, having those difficult conversations, things like that. And anytime you do that for the first time, a talk or a presentation, it's always terrifying. And it's, forcing yourself to get over that hurdle. It gets easier each time you do it. That kind of fear never goes away. You just kind of learn how to deal with it better each time, and practice makes perfect. So for me, it was that long-term, having that conscious thought to say, right, I've really got to push myself here outside of my comfort zone, taking that first step, and it just gets a bit easier each time that you do that. Yeah.
In technology leadership, often juggle board reports, crisis, and culture. How do you personally stay grounded amid all the context switching?
Staying grounded, again, I think comes down to being present in the moment. Just as we joined this call, I had notifications and messages flying off left, right and centre. It's, like I say, being present in that moment, active listening, focus on the job at hand. You can only fix one thing at a time. You can only deal with one thing at a time, even though you might have a big long to-do list. Just focusing on that one thing and giving it all of your attention. One thing I've learned is, less haste, more speed. So you want to have a clear picture before you start doing something. It could be a big, long replatforming website rebuild, or it could just be a small daily task. But before you jump into it, start coding or doing anything, just having a clear picture in your mind of what you want the end state to be, a clear requirements or specification before you even start, because it saves you a lot of pain in the long run if you know what you're doing from day one, rather than rework and refactoring and all that kind of thing. And in terms of staying grounded, I'd say trying to take an objective perspective on stuff, that kind of mindfulness thing. Especially in our industry, things go wrong, errors, website goes down, and in that moment everything feels like high pressure, life or death. Taking an objective view of it, you look back at when you fix something or a problem's been resolved, you go, it wasn't that big a deal, when I look back at it. So it's having that kind of mindfulness of not getting caught up in the moment, taking a step back, take a deep breath, conscious effort to remain calm. And in doing that myself, I've noticed it has a calming effect on my team as well.
Nice. Yeah.
Especially in our industry, we're only building websites, it isn't life or death.
Yeah.
And then having that calmness and perspective just helps you deal with things day to day.
For someone aiming to become in a role within technology leadership, what's one uncomfortable skill they must learn that isn't technical?
For me, it's people skills. You're going from being a technology specialist into management or consultancy or strategy and that kind of thing. So it's learning how to deal with all different types of people. Again, understanding that they all have different information, motivations, understandings of the topics that are under discussion, and being able to adjust to each person, the marketing team or even non-technical people, being able to explain yourself and your ideas at the right level to the right people, and speaking their language, really. Again, that takes years of experience and practice is what I've learned. That kind of emotional intelligence and empathy, which isn't something that stereotypically doesn't come naturally to developers. Yeah, as you can imagine. So it's taken years to get to the point where I am, And when you look back, you go, well, you know, you've come a long way in terms of that kind of personal growth and learning that skill, you know, understanding that, say, human communication is imperfect, as it were. Getting on the same wavelength as someone, I think, is definitely a key skill. And you say, what's one uncomfortable skill that at times can be uncomfortable? So when you get on the same wavelength, getting in sync with somebody, whether it's a team member or a client or someone else, that kind of synchronicity, if I can put it that way, should be like cherished and nurtured. And for me, that's one of the things that I really enjoy at work.